Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Thanks for tuning in. It has been a little while since I have posted anything. It has been over a few months and there's reasons for that. I had emergency surgery the first week of August and it set me back a little bit. So sorry that I haven't been here doing content for you guys, but that is all about to change. Today's video is going to be about an event or experience that happened to me several years ago. And I'm going to go through the whole story and hopefully it's a motivating story for you. As you all know, I am a professional trained opera singer and I studied many years working on my degrees in vocal performance and music. So let's go back to the beginning. So when I very first started college, the very first semester that I went to school, because I started I didn't start in the fall, I started in the spring. And there was a performance. It's called the Concerto Aria Winners Concert. And it was a performance of the winner of a competition with the full orchestra on stage. And that particular year, it was a pianist. Her name was Sophia. And I remember I used to always sit, when there was a pianist that was going to play, I always sit in the audience where I can see their hands because the piano is turned sideways. And I don't remember which concerto she played. Something in me wants to say it was a Beethoven piece. And it was unbelievable. I was starstruck. I hadn't experienced that kind of talent in my life at that point. And to see her on stage and to just feel the energy of the audience and how incredible it was. This was the top student. This competition basically is to showcase, the top student of the university, and they get the opportunity to play with the orchestra. And it was very inspiring to see this performance, to see her play. It was just, her fingers were like fire just on the keys. It was the most amazing thing. And I remember in that moment thinking to myself, I want to do that. I want to be on that stage. I want to be up there with that orchestra. I want to win this competition. That was just this goal. The competitor in me, the one that wants to be on the stage and perform, was just inspired deeply by this performance. And I went every year to see the winner of this competition as the years went by. I never felt prepared to perform or to compete in the competition. And it was just always in the back of my mind. And often it would be a pianist. We had a very strong piano program at our university, and our pianists were all just amazing. So often through the years, it would be pianists that would take the prize. But we also had some string players that had won. And then one year, a singer won the competition. It was called the Concerto Aria competition, to allow the singers to be able to perform as well, and to compete with the rest of the instrumental students. And that was pretty amazing to get to see, that, okay, this can be done. This can happen. And kind of lit a fire under me a little bit. And I started really looking at pieces that I was choosing. I finished my bachelor's degree and started my master's in performance. I did compete. I chose a piece in French by Berlioz on the Damnation. He wrote a piece, stage piece really, the Damnation of Faust. And there was an aria in there that Marguerite sings. And I learned it, and it's a great, great aria. I still very much love that aria. But performed it, and I did not win. There were some issues. I don't think the piece was showy enough, I guess, in that way. You didn't have the fireworks that were needed for that. I don't know that my technique was where it needed to be quite yet. And my accompanist, my collaborative pianist rather, didn't practice. He was sight reading my piece on the stage and he was making mistakes. And it just, while that shouldn't make or break a performance, it got into my head and I did not perform as well as I should have. So that year was a bust. Well, I had another year and I decided to go full out and chose a very, very showy set of arias. There was 2 of them and they were from Verdi's Macbeth, which is technically a soprano role. However, being a Verdi mezzo, I decided that I was going to try to tackle this and try and, perform these pieces. The range, it was within my range, although the very highest note was literally the very top of my performable range, and it was tough. So I set my sights on this, and I worked for a year on these arias, and I knew them like the back of my hand. My teacher and I she worked with me, and we got them up to performance level, and then continued to keep just working on them. The competition is in the fall. It is in November. And I had been working on this for over a year to be able to perform these 2 pieces, about a year. And a friend of mine who had a daughter the same age as my girls had come over to the house, visiting. Well, she was there with the kids and I came home and very quickly realized that she was very, very ill. She, said she'd had, been sick, or, throat and congestion and all of this. And I just freaked out. My competition was in about 5 days and I could not get sick. This is pre-pandemic. And so as a singer, I was already on high alert anytime I was around anyone that coughed or sneezed or there was any kind of sickness going on, because it's so vital that as a performer, we don't get sick. We have to take very good care of our health because it can destroy performance. As gently as I could, I had to tell her she had to go. Like, you can't be over here. I can't get sick right now. And, apologies and all that. And she left, but it was too late. I came down with the worst, just flu. I don't really even know what it was. It wasn't strep throat or anything like that, but it was bad enough that it affected everything. I had fever for a day or 2, and that turned it into the worst congestion. And my voice was gone. I had a huge, it started out just being sore and swollen, and I tried to take care of it and not, irritate things. I couldn't practice, which was a problem. But the day before the performance, I believe the performance itself, the competition rather, was on a Monday. And I believe it was a Sunday that I met with my professor. I had called her in a panic, just didn't know what to do. It was freaking out. She gave me some advice and some recipes for, some soothing tea and, ginger root, things like that to help reduce swelling in my, for my larynx. And I went in to have a small lesson with her the day before. She needed to assess and see, where things were at. And as I tried to do a scale up and down, I would start out singing and literally no sound would come out of my mouth through the middle part of that scale, a few notes at the top and then coming back down. There was a hole, a literal just hole in my voice where no sound could happen. I could not phonate at all. And I was just devastated. I was broken. I had worked up to this. So this was my only opportunity to live out this goal, this dream that I had set for myself years before. And I just cried. I just broke down in the middle of my lesson and just sobbed. I just couldn't believe that I had worked this hard for something that was just going to slip through my fingers because of this illness that I had that had been, I was devastated. Well, she tried to soothe me. She said, okay, here's what I want you to do. She gave me some instructions. I was not allowed to speak. If I had to write things down on a piece of paper or whiteboard, just no sound could come out of my mouth. And I was to breathe the steam from boiling ginger root and the tea recipe that I had been given. And that was it. And that she would have me come in the next day at noon. We were going to go through things and see how it was. And at that point, I had just made the decision that I was going to compete no matter what. That I was going, I just set my feet in the ground and I said, I'm going to make this happen. I went home, I did everything that she said. I did not speak, the ginger root, everything. And the next day, I went into her office at noon and I could sing. The hole was gone. I had the notes back, but everything sounded just scratchy, like I had gravel in my throat. She did want me to overdo it. We just went through the 2 pieces and just let it be. And I was still very, very emotional, still kind of tearing up, and just said, I will see you at 5. I set myself to do this and I'm going to see it through. And whatever happens, happens. So I got there at 5. I was the first performer. There was nobody in the audience. It was just a judge up in the balcony who, determines the winner. The audience doesn't come in until the winner performs with the orchestra. So I got on the stage, and you have to realize that I am full of congestion. I have so much just gunk in my face, in my head, and the vibration of singing causes that to wiggle around and start to run. So, of course, I'm singing through my pieces, and I just said to hell with it. I'm just going to sing the shit out of this and perform this as though nothing was wrong. And that's exactly what I did. My character, everything about it was just, I just forgot the fact that I was sick. It was a little hard to forget the snot that was running down my face that I was hoping that, she couldn't see up there in the balcony, but it is what it is. And I did what I came to do. And then I left expecting that there's just no way on this earth that I was ever going to win this competition, because I sounded like garbage. Like, just the sound was so scratchy. There was a few places where things kind of cut in and out, and it was a little bit weird, but I did the best I could. That night, Vio had a performance with his band in Kansas City, and so we already had the car packed up, and as soon as I was done, I got in the car and we left and headed to the city, which is about an hour. And on the way there, I got a phone call, and I had tied with a pianist, a good friend of mine. It was a collaborative pianist that I worked with named Sarah. We both won. We tied the competition, and we were both going to perform with the orchestra in the spring. And I was just stunned. I think I cried again, probably. I'm an emotional creature, so crying is just something that kind of happens with me a lot. And looking back on this, so I have a couple of recordings with the orchestra. It was a wonderful experience. I'm so glad that I got to do it. Was my performance perfect? Yeah, I was getting my master's, and then I continued on. So it's one of those things where I sort of wish I could go back and do it again, perform those pieces, and I'll probably get them back out and dust them off and do those at some point. because they're just beautiful. And I love that character. Lady Macbeth is, well, Lady Macbeth. So, technique wise, when I go back and I watch, the video that was taken from the audience for that performance, I hear things and I know that I would do it a little differently now that I had gotten, more solid with my technique beyond that. But just watching it really, I was like, I did that. I set a goal for myself and I saw it through this situation that logically there should have just been no possible way that it should have happened. I think that the determination, the will that I had, the willpower, to manifest this to happen, to, pull, the universe takes care and listens. And I was so set on it, so determined that I was going to overcome any obstacle I had to make this happen. It meant that much to me. And I think that happens in life. I think we need to take note of that and remember these things, because there are times when things just look like they're going to fall apart. It's just sand through your fingers, and you got to buckle down and you just got to see it through. And you have to just pull those resources together and say, I'm going to do everything I can. I'm going to push. I'm going to make this happen. And there it is. There's been a few times past, beyond that situation that I have faltered. I haven't stuck to, I've let those doubts and let that negativity and all of those forces that seem to be against me, I've let them get to me and I've let them take me down. And I have to remember that I am the one in control. I can make or break a situation, and I have to stay strong. I guess the moral of the story, the lesson to be learned here is don't give up. You've got the resources. It's really all about the mindset and the determination and overcoming when things look like they just aren't going to work. You just got to push through and do the best you can. So that's my story. There's lots of stories. This particular one, I just happened upon the videos recently and rewatched them and just remembered the whole event, the way everything played out. And I'm really proud of the work that I did and so glad that I was able to be a part of that competition and that performance. It was the first performance that Vio and I were on the stage together, although he's not in the video because he's a bass player and was on the other side of the stage. Sorry, Vio. But it was the first time that him and I shared the stage. So it's another little tidbit there for you. Tell me your stories. Tell me about things that have happened, inspired, let's give each other some pump up. So tell me some stuff that's happened to you that you've been able to overcome down here in the comments. If you haven't subscribed, please click the subscribe button, ring that notification bell so you know when videos are going to be posted. Again, I love all of you. I'm so sorry that I haven't been present for the last couple of months and gotten these videos up, but I am really glad that we're getting things back up and running. So I hope that this has inspired you in some way. And until next time, stay spooky, my friends. We'll see you later.